7th edition, and I would say that virtual events are still not dead. And in my opinion, if you make it, of course, interesting and with great content, I believe we just proved that again. So this next normal is having close to 500 registrations, which is, I would say, very, very much taking into consideration that many events went back live, same as our flagship event in Dubrovnik. But compared to our other previous 7 events, I would say that this event seems very special compared to last ones, at least for myself. Today and tomorrow, we will mainly speak about customer experience and how to incorporate that into the omnichannel ecosystem of engagement. And in my opinion, experience is everything. How we consume, how we communicate, how we feel, and we couldn't make a better opening than this one. So really pleased to welcome today with us Ghislaine Dondellinger. Hi Ghislaine, how are you?
I'm good, Dario. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Very excited to be here today.
Fantastic. And also together with me, we have Marko Ivanovic, who is also one of our very good and great speakers from Next. Marko, same question to you. How are you?
Very good. How are you doing?
Fantastic.
Glad to be
Unfortunately,
back
Eva
again.
couldn't join us, but I believe this conversation will be very great indeed in overall. And let's kick off this grand opening panel with the very first question, which is how would you define the current state delivering customer experience across different stakeholders? So what is the current state of the customer experience in pharma, and can we somehow incorporate it to be like the next Starbucks, Amazon, or other fancy brands which are very well known for proper customer experience? Who would like to go first? Marko, you're unmuted, so
Yeah,
let's start with you.
I can. Thank you very much, Dario. So first of all, a quick introduction. So Marko Ivanovic, I've been working for the last 8 years for Haleon. You might not have heard about the Haleon company because we just did a spin-off from our big sister GlaxoSmithKline, but I'm sure you guys have heard about our products over-the-counter ones like the Sensodyne, Parodontax, Panadol, and Voltaren. My role in GSK and now in Haleon is actually the Global Consumer Relations Director, and I'm looking after the digital strategy. In the Global Consumer Relations, we care about our consumers in their pre-purchase and post-purchase journeys, if they have any questions, concerns, or the feedback to share. And I think this is also important kind of to say what I do for daily living, because how I'm going to answer that question, Dario, is basically speaking about the over-the-counter consumer healthcare rather than pharma, but nevertheless, I think it's very relevant for the other colleagues in a specific pharma industry. So I actually think that our industry, regardless, is it over the counter or the default pharma industry, has historically been focusing on the golden triangle. And the first vertex is the product quality and product safety. And this is not a brainer, right? Because we produce the products that we prescribe or consumers take over the counter that positively impacts their health, right? And then the second vertex is about the company reputation. That's what usually our industry cares about as well. And this is another no-brainer because pharma and the consumer healthcare are under the big scrutiny of the media, and they always have the eye on us. So I'm sure that those of you who are listening and also working for the big players, same like GlaxoSmithKline or Haleon, you guys know what I'm talking about. And then besides the company reputation and the product quality and safety, there is a third vertex, which is growth and margin. And this is basically the business and the money talking, delivering the value to our shareholders and proving to the street that we have a strong pipeline. However, looking at this triangle, despite the numerous researches that proves the value of the customer and consumer experience and its impact to the customer loyalty, there is almost no company in our neck of the woods that really reshapes that and challenges that golden triangle and makes it as a golden square and prioritizes along those three vertices the consumer experience. So in my mind, there is no surprise that the current state of the customer experience across the different journeys is not where customers and consumers expect us to be. And you kind of alluded at the beginning that customers and the consumers are actually judging experience with our companies based on the recent experience they had. And it can be with Amazon or Uber or Airbnb or just even kind of engaging with their favorite hotel. So while in their mind they don't necessarily differentiate pharma industry versus the banking industry versus the entertainment industry, we in the healthcare, we keep focusing on that golden triangle. And even though we know the benefit, that good benefit that is coming from the consumer experience, we still keep focusing on those three. So kind of to your question, yes, the kind of the state of the CX is not where we want to be, nor where the customers expect us to be, and definitely needs to evolve, in my opinion.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Marko. I mean, this is the particular reason why we also invited you, because you are in many regards much more flexible than traditional prescription pharma, right? So that's why I think maybe you can also widen our perspectives when it comes to customer experience and how to engage with the stakeholders. So again, thanks a lot for kicking off the stage. Ghislaine, same question to you, and hearing what Marko says, do you agree with his statement, and what is the current state of customer experience in pharma?
Yeah, no, completely. Definitely, I agree. I think that, we all are on the same page when we say that we are quite a conservative industry, the pharma industry overall, and that COVID has been, a big gift to all of us for the industry. First, because it helps us to accelerate the digitalization of our engagement. We had no other choice than to jump to the cold water and make it happen, and pushed it really very, very far in a very limited time frame. And post crisis now, which is now, we have realized that in fact we need to take care of what the customers want, and add this number 4, how can I say, point of connection that Marko was describing, and not anymore the triangle that he was describing, because we need to factor as well how our customers want to interact with us, and what do they want to receive from us as an information. It's quite new for us, and so we understand the need, and I think as an industry, we started trying to find our way within the frame of our industry, with all the regulation and all the constraints that we have, to make it happen. So we are on our way, but not completely yet there. And I'm saying this because I agree with you, Marko, that the expectation of the customers are quite high. They do not differentiate us versus the other, how can I say, sectors, where they are, as all of us consumers, getting what they need in a very, very, how can I say, quick and precise manner. So they expect from us as a whole industry to be on our top here, and so we have a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Ghislaine, because at the end of the day, this journey for an average or typical customer is more or less the same, right? I mean, the experience journey should look excellent in every single industry. If you speak about pharma, aviation industry, grocery store, doesn't matter. I mean, experience certainly matters. So let's deep dive into the next question, which is, from your experience, what are the key foundations to create the proper customer experience mindset in a modern pharma company? Because what we see nowadays is that many functions are actually speaking different languages, right? We have medical affairs speaking one voice and language, then we have commercial another one, etc. So how to align this all together, that we have a proper, harmonized and synchronized voice of one single organization from top till the bottom? Ghislaine, would you like to start first, please?
Yes, I was discussing this point, recently last week with colleagues from the industry, and there is many aspects that needs to be taken into consideration at the same time, because we have really a big jump to do here in this area, and the first of them, I would say, really having the process and the way of working that help us to profile well the customers. So profile customers is for me definitely the need number 1. And this connects to many other, how I can say, aspects that need to be tackled. First of them is the infrastructure, meaning the systems or the ecosystems, to have them, harmonized and at minimum level standardized, that we can easily utilize the data that we can gather through them and transform it to insights. So this is one of the pieces. Then there is a lot of work to be done on the process itself and the collaboration between the different, how can I say, stakeholders serving the customers. And third, for me, is really getting better with all the data that we can get with the different channel of interactions. Not only, when I say channel, it's not only from the pure channel perspective, but it is well from the, how can I say, the stream of the company or of the industry that are interacting with the HCPs, to transform all of this data of something valuable. Yeah. So we need to learn about more and more what we need to search for, prior to start searching for it. So a lot of work, and it needs to happen, at the same time. Yeah. When we are working on collaboration and setting up the right processes, we need as well in parallel to work on the ecosystem and the infrastructure to be able to be able to transform the data to insights and be able to profile the customers. Only with this we will be able to propose valuable and impactful customer journeys. So this is what as I said before, a lot of work to be done.
Thanks so much, Ghislaine. Marko.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds easy, right, Ghislaine? You were explaining, understand the persona, revise your current process, set up the right infrastructure, and then collect the data and learn from the data. But it's kind of much easier said than done. And I think all of us in a lot of companies, we've really tried that, and then some of us fail faster than the others. But overall, there is something that holds us back. And that's then because we also kind of were not as successful as we expected us to be in terms of kind of to create that consumer experience for us, or the customer experience mindset in our company. What I also looked with my team is in terms of what holds us back, really, to first of all to understand the persona, what holds us back to create the fit for purpose processes, to have that infrastructure, and also to learn from the data. And it kind of all goes back to that triangle and kind of to the sponsorship as well. But then what is, like applying the 5 whys, and what is this that is really root cause of our slow evolution? We kind of came up to the 3 elements. One is basically we haven't been able actually to create a tangible and measurable impact to the bottom line. So what is the value of the consumer experience? Because whoever those decision makers, they would want to understand, to trust us, and to understand what is a good reason for investment in the CX area. Another thing that holds us back is the regulations. So it's always kind of easier to say, well, I'm not allowed to do this, or external or internal regulations are not letting me, or whatever, like kind of having a easier excuse. And the third one, which is also, I think I've also personally been very kind of culpable of that, is kind of focusing on the areas that don't really matters the most to the customers. It's kind of fixing the little problems in terms of kind of evolution of the experience, rather than really delivering tackling the big ticket items. And then there are kind of looking at that, we looked at what are the 5 things that if we focus on first, that can accelerate us in that kind of evolutionary CX mindset, and also to help us with the buy-in with the rest of the organization. And they're kind of the 5 elements that I wanted to share with you. One is about obviously knowing the value of the CX, the customer or consumer experience. So it's kind of understanding, like for us in the consumer space, is about that loyalty. But I'm sure different companies, and especially in the pharma, when you talk about the customers, there has to be kind of underlying value that consumer experience brings, at least to the bottom line. The second one is about avoiding the proliferation. So we we challenge the silos, especially in the big companies like ours are. We challenge the silos, but we keep being part of the silos and working in the silos. So again, focusing on those little incremental improvement initiatives rather than looking at what is the big beast we need to tackle first. Then the third, I think, element that is accelerating us and helping us with the buy-in is that to avoid that limited creativity. So one of our principles is to challenge the status quo. And by challenging the status quo as a first step is really to understand what the regulation says, and is there a difference between what the regulation says and how our internal companies either over processing it or understanding it differently, so that we can have informed conversations with the decision makers. And then the how you say, the last thing is about the sidelining the customers or the consumers. Sometimes, we're in a rush and we said, yes, we have a great idea. I'm a consumer myself, or I'm a customer myself, and I know what they want. And then what we do, we kind of tend to delay or reduce the touch points and really learning, or Giselle, what you talked about, creating those personas. We delay that learning and getting in touch with the real people outside our company. But actually, this is not what's supposed to happen. We should be, from the very beginning of creating those CX journeys and creating the mindset, really speak a lot with the consumers and the customers. So those are the elements. So knowing the value of the CX, avoiding that proliferation, and not looking at the consumer experience as a standalone island, but it's all of us in the company who are responsible for the CX. Avoided the limited creativity, but understanding the regulations, and then also not sidelining the customers or the consumers. And this is kind of what helps us really in the CX mindset.
That's a very good point, Marko. However, I would say that in many cases we are too much focused on the technology side, right, rather than the human side. Because at the end of the day, the rep, the MSL, whoever is doing the engagement with our stakeholder, he's doing it on a human level. And let me share one very interesting experience which I had this year. During COVID, I read an article that a famous hotel chain will invest a lot of million euros, dollars, doesn't matter, in improving customer experience and leading the digital transformation. I suppose that sounds very familiar, right? And after COVID, so this year I went to that hotel chain, to this particular hotel. I think I have more than 20 stays there. I went to the reception, and the receptionist asked me, "Hi, sir, is it your very first time at this and that hotel?" I looked after him. I asked, "Can you see if that's my first time?" He said, "Yes, I can." He looked at after, and he said, "Oh, I see you have like 20 or something stays." You see, I mean, he has the tech, he has the insights, but why he's not delivering customer experience? You see, and this leads me to the next question, which is: are we sometimes too much focused and occupied on the technology part than rather on the human part, and how to align technology together with the human part inside the organization? Marko, you're on mute. Or Ghislaine, you would like to start, please.
Yeah. This is something that I was willing to share with you. I think, and you're right by raising this point, Dario, about like making this transformation or this cultural shift happening. It's the tougher, how can I say, piece of this whole equation, is to make people realizing that they have a fantastic opportunity, but that they need to do their work and their job in a completely different manner, and that they need to make it part of their, how can I say, of their DNA by questioning themselves the right question, because they can find the answer, they can find the information. And I think that what is happening is that people are confronted to this multiplication of channel sources of interaction of information as well, and with these huge numbers they are a little bit lost where to look and where to not look, what is important, what is less important, and so on. So this really pushed me more and more now to realize that we need as well to play our role as how can I say, leaders trying to make this transformation taking place by simplifying the what all the aspects of this omni-channel engagement models that we are trying to put in place. So first of all, when I say simplifying, it starts with basic things. We need to have some proper, how can say, common definition, few of them. Now need to make it super sophisticated, but that we share all as an organization, that we can take it as a reference point, and then we can enrich it. In terms of engagement and customer engagement to journeys, we need to make them much more simple. In fact, I was talking to many of farm industry colleagues, but as well internally in some sophisticated markets in our company, which tried to push it really in a, how can say, a very high level of sophistication by integrating the different channels, by doing something really very, how can say, yeah, sophisticated. And the outcome of it is that they fail. Because they cannot extract from it all what they thought initially that they will be getting from it, and dreaming that this will come, easy. Uh, and we came all to the same, how can say, conclusion: simplification. When we do customer journey, we do them simple, but at least we extract what we want from it to build and to put the next block to make it next time a little bit much more sophisticated. Yeah, but step by step. And this will help as well people by seeing, how can say, the success, or seeing the value of what they are doing, because then they can tangibly touch that by following up after a face-to-face meeting with an email that's then will trigger, how can say, invitation to a webinar. And so far that's it. And then check that is the HCP will come to the webinar or not. Really very simple journeys. It's more than enough to try to, how can say, do the process till the end, gather all the information, look at them, and take the time on on the different, how can say, tools that we provide to our field forces to use, to get whatever they need in terms of insight to build their how can say, their next action, and to conduct it till the end, and then look, by what does it mean, what are the qualification that they can put on the, how can say, on the HCPs, that they try to start doing this exercise of persona. In fact, it's giving them the opportunity of experimenting and doing, and learning by doing, failing in some aspects, but realizing where they fail, when the failure happened. And this we can get it only when we simplify the whole stuff. I think that we were a little bit too ambitious at the beginning, thinking that things are, by having all those channels, during the COVID activated, that we can use them that easy. And in fact, yeah, I think that the conclusion is that let's make it simple, but at least we can, really digest, rather than being, how can say, super ambitious and then, find ourselves in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
Very good point, Ghislaine. If I may add, make it simple. I mean, we all used Uber, right? Uber somehow perfected the customer experience journey with just introducing a simple map within the app, so that you somehow think that you own the time of waiting, which compared to a traditional taxi isn't the case, right? But again, that's a really tiny step. And second thing, like you said, Pharma is having this strong belief we have to implement every single channel. I say it many times. Do you know that Apple isn't having our official LinkedIn account, neither our official Facebook account? Samsung has it as an example, right? I mean, it's not that you have to be everywhere. You need to master the right channels for the right customers and do it in an excellent way, right? So thanks a lot. Very good points. Marko?
I mean, there is nothing kind of more to add to that, Dario. I think your comparison with exactly with the kind of last or the latest experience someone is having is definitely going to mark any customer or consumer expectation of the follow-up experience. And I guess we need to be honest with ourselves and to understand what are the problems and where the problems are. And it can be to understand the problems of the customers and consumers and solve those problems for them. Like you said in the Uber, the problem was I want to know when my taxi is going to arrive, or I want to know if I'm safe with that taxi driver. So those are all the problems that the Uber actually really understood deep in, like a deep human understanding of the customers and consumers of theirs. But on the other side, we also have to be honest and look ourselves in the mirror. What are our deep problems within our companies. Like you mentioned as well, that hotel chain, and I'm sure a lot of us had a similar experience where they have the technology, they have the processes, they have the people in place, and yet it hasn't been adopted, that good ideas. And that's what I mean about the problems, our own problems in the company DNAs, connected usually to the adoption or some other excuse, or it can be the problems of the customers. But if we don't fix those problems, but first automate or digitize, we will deliver the same problems just to the more people, reliably across the different channels and in a standard way. So kind of the garbage in, garbage out, just more reliably. And this is not what we should be doing.
But maybe we can stay compliant.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Last question. We are left with 4 minutes. I would like to speak about some very concrete examples of customer experience in pharma and in particular journeys. Are you willing to share maybe some good examples? I mean, Ghislaine mentioned already some nice examples, but this time maybe we can start with you, Marko, because I said you're dealing directly in the OTC sphere where obviously you're much more flexible than a traditional pharma company.
Yeah, I mean, I can share, of course, some of the things that we are currently working on, and we've delivered as well on some of our websites, for example. But anything what we start to work on is actually looking at the intent of our customers, of our consumers, in terms of like expectations on the speed, on their own kind of what they expect from us and what they wait for us to do, and then to analyze what are their kind of what is this that we can do to solve those problems of the customer. So it's about the intents, and then what are the problems we want to solve and we can solve for them. But for particular examples, like we are using our brand.com websites more and more for the self-serve, because we realize there is a lot of customers coming to us and querying about the ingredients, about the safe use of the product, the where to buy the products and so on. And this is something we're particularly not looking at a touch point only on the website, but where they are. We've been interviewing the consumers, and literally when they're on the phone with us, asking them, where are you now? Well, some of them are in the kitchen, some of them are in the bathroom. So it's important to understand where they are and then to offer them the right solutions. Another one is we're improving our experience. We're providing to the consumers through the vouchers and the cashback, depending on the different market country regulations. But this is also a specific experience in terms of trying to understand what is the intent of the consumer calling and complaining, for example, about the color or the smell or the taste of a Panadol and whatever else, and how can we understand that underlying intent so we can provide them easier with the vouchers to buy some other version of the product. And the third element is about experience when the recall is happening, and unfortunately this is happening in our industries everywhere. So whenever they happen, how can we understand what is the psychology going behind the consumers who are having in their cupboards the product that we are recalling, and how can we help them actually to guide them through that very delicate process. So that's kind of the 3 specific consumer experience journeys.
Thank you, Marko. Ghislaine, last minute. You're muted, sorry.
Yeah, forgot it. So sorry for this. Yeah, we are trying to experiment different, how can I say, very now simplified, small customer journeys, and to start a little bit better profile our customers and build the next level. We are as well experimenting and expanding the usage of a next best action solution, which was developed within the company to really help the field force or the team facing the customers of getting some suggestions about what should be their next action with the customers. And we are really pushing it further to make it a little bit more sophisticated by injecting data to it. So yeah, we are really in an experimentation phase. And what I can say is that so far what we have learned is that there is no one recipe that works everywhere. It really depends on the countries, on the therapeutic area, on the product and the life cycle of the product. So yeah, we need definitely to be able to make, all of us within the company able to work with all of those, solutions and tools, because it will be not one person or one product manager or one marketing head given, how can I say, the recipe to sales or to how can I say medical teams to make it happen. No, in fact, we need to all of us to contribute to make it happen. This is the big learning that we are getting so far from all our experimentation.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot once again, Marko. Ghislaine, was really a great conversation, great opening. I believe the expectations from the rest of the day is very high, and hopefully that we will learn a lot of concrete things. So thank you very much, and hopefully see you in Dubrovnik as well.
Thank you, Dario. It was
Thank you
really
very
great.
much.
Yes, thank you. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.